In the universe of Hindu and Buddhist religions, there is a race of semi-divine beings known as Asuras. These beings are described as powerful and ambitious, always seeking dominance. The Asuras in Hinduism are a group of power-hungry and constantly warring deities, sometimes considered demonic or sinful. They were opposed to the Devas, the benevolent gods. Both groups were sons of the patriarch Kasyapa, the creator of all living beings. The name Asura means decisive or firm and is believed to have a common origin with the Persian Ahura and the Norse Aesir, which also designate divine beings. The perception of Asuras in Hinduism varied because several original Asura deities were later recognized as Devas and vice versa. For example, Varuna, the god of heaven and order, was considered the leader of the Asuras in the Rig Veda, the oldest text of Hinduism, but later became a Deva in the Atharva Veda. In contrast, Indra, the god of storms and king of the Devas, was called an Asura in some hymns of the Rig Veda, but later became the main enemy of the Asuras. In general, the older texts indicate that the Asuras presided over moral and social phenomena. For example, Varuna was the guardian of the Rita, the religious rites, and Bhaga was the patron of marriages. And the Devas presided over natural phenomena. For example, Indra was a god of storms, and Ushas was the dawn. In later texts, such as the Puranas and the Itijasas like the Mahabharata and the Ramayana, the Devas are found to be the divine beings and the Asuras the demonic ones. According to the Bhagavad Gita, one of the sacred texts of Hinduism, all beings in the universe possess divine qualities, drive sampled, of the Devas or demonic qualities, Asura sampled, of the Asuras. Chapter 16 of the Bhagavad Gita describes the divine attributes briefly and extensively, as well as the demoniacal ones. In summary, Gita says the qualities of the Asuras are pride, arrogance, delusion, anger, rudeness, and ignorance. The Padma Purana says that devotees of the god Vishnu are considered Devas. In contrast, the Asuras are just the opposite of that. One of the most famous myths relating the conflict between the Asuras and the Devas is the churning of the ocean of milk, which is found in several Hindu texts, such as the Mahabharata, the Vishnu Purana, and the Bhagavata Purana. According to this myth, the Devas and Asuras decided to cooperate to obtain Amrita, the nectar of immortality, found at the bottom of the ocean of milk. To do so, they used the mountain Mandara as a whisk and the serpent Vasuki as a rope, with the help of Vishnu, the god who maintains the balance between the two groups. As they churned the ocean, various wondrous objects and beings emerged, such as Lakshmi, the goddess of fortune, Airavata, Indra's elephant, and Dhanvantari, the god of medicine, who carried a pot of Amrita. The Asuras, seeing the Amrita, snatched it from Dhanvantari and fled. The Deva, fearing loss of immortality, sought help from Vishnu, who took the form of Mohini, a beautiful woman who seduced the Asuras and took the Amrita from them. The Devas drank the Amrita and became immortal, while the Asuras were defeated and expelled from heaven. The Asuras in Buddhism are demigods living in a lower realm than the Devas, the benevolent gods. The Asuras are derived from the Asuras of Hinduism, but have some myths and characteristics found only in Buddhist texts. The word Asura can be translated as Titan, Giant, or Jotun. It refers to beings usually at war with the gods, although they sometimes ally or marry them. The character of the Asuras is marked by passions, especially pride, anger, envy, delusion, and violence. These passions cause them to suffer and keep them away from enlightenment. That is why rebirth as an Asura is considered one of the 4 unhappy births, along with rebirth as an animal, as a Preta, or as a being from hell. The state of an Asura reflects the mental state of a human obsessed with ego, strength, and conflict, who always looks for an excuse to fight and does not know how to solve problems peacefully. The Asuras live in the region at the foot of Mount Sumeru, the sacred mountain at the center of the Buddhist universe, and the surrounding sea. The Asuras share with the Devas the holy tree that grows on the peak of Mount Sumeru, which bears wondrous fruits that bestow pleasure and power. However, The Asuras cannot enjoy these fruits, as the Devas expelled them from the mountain peak and confined them to the base. The Asuras, filled with envy and resentment, attempt to storm the realm of the Devas to claim their share of the tree, but are turned back by the celestial guardians. The Asuras have several leaders called Asurendra, meaning king of the Asuras. Some of the best-known Surendra are Vimachitran, Raju, Pajarada, Bali, and Rahu. They each have their history and personality and sometimes interact with Devas, humans, or the Buddha. For example, Rahu is an Asura who tried to devour the sun and moon but was cut down by the god Indra, and since then has caused eclipses. Bali is an Asura defeated by the god Vishnu, but receives his blessing and becomes a Dharma protector. Pajarada is an Asura who fell in love with a goddess, but was rejected by her and the Devas and took refuge in the sea. The Asuras have various artistic representations depending on the culture and time. They are usually shown with 3 heads with 3 faces each and 4 to 6 arms, although sometimes they have more or less. They are also often depicted with warlike attributes such as weapons, armor, or flags. Sometimes they are represented as monstrous beings with fangs, claws, horns, or wings. Others represent them as beautiful beings with jewels, crowns, or dresses. In some traditions, such as the Japanese, they are associated with the color red. They are considered warriors and protectors of justice and truth. The Asuras in Zoroastrianism are the forces of good, associated with the supreme god Ahura Mazda, the Lord of Wisdom and Light. The Asuras are derived from the Asuras of Hinduism, but have a reversal of roles concerning the Devas, the benevolent gods. The word Asura means powerful and is believed to have a common origin with the Persian Ahura and the Norse Asir, which also designate divine beings. The roles of the Asuras and Devas in Zoroastrianism are reversed because this religion originated in Persia. This region was in constant conflict with India, where Hinduism was practiced. Therefore, the Persians adopted the Asuras as their protector gods and rejected the Devas as enemies. The Asuras became the guardians of order and justice. In contrast, the Devas became evil spirits, following Angra Mainyu, the god of darkness and destruction. The god of Zoroastrianism is Ahura Mazda, the creator of all that exists. Ahura Mazda is the only god worthy of worship and is the origin of all good things. Ahura Mazda has 2 aspects, Spenta Mainyu, the Holy Spirit, and Angra Mainyu, the evil spirit. These 2 spirits are in an eternal struggle for the world's fate, representing the moral dualism of Zoroastrianism. Spenta Mainyu is responsible for life, truth, purity, and happiness. At the same time, Angra Mainyu is responsible for death, lies, impurity, and suffering. Ahura Mazda also has 6 Asuras who are his helpers and represent his attributes. These are Vohumana, the excellent mind, Asha Vahishta, the best truth, Kshatra Vairya, the best power, Spenta Armati, pious devotion, Harvatat, integrity, and Amaritat, immortality. These Asuras form the Amesha Spenta, the group of the 7 immortal spirits who are the closest to Ahura Mazda and the most revered by Zoroastrians. The Asuras have few artistic representations, as Zoroastrianism forbids idolatry and image worship. However, they are often symbolized by fire, the most sacred element for Zoroastrians, representing light, purity, and the truth of Ahura Mazda. Zoroastrians perform their rituals before the fire, mediating between humans and the gods. Fire is also associated with the sun, symbolizing Ahura Mazda and his glory. The Asuras in Japanese mythology are descendants of the Indian gods, who have an essential role as warriors and protectors. The Asuras are derived from the Asuras of Hinduism and Buddhism, but have some features only found in Japanese texts and arts. The word Asura can be translated as Titan, Giant, or Jotun. It refers to beings usually at war with the gods, although they sometimes ally or marry them. The origin of the Asuras in Japan can be traced back to the introduction of Buddhism in the 6th century, which brought with it the influence of the culture and religion of India and China. Asuras were assimilated by Japanese Shinto, the native religion of Japan, which worships the kami, the spirits of nature and ancestors. The Asuras were considered a class of kami, which were ambiguous and complex and could be beneficial and malefic. In Japan, the character of Asuras is marked by courage, justice, truth, and loyalty. These virtues make them admired and respected by humans, especially by the samurai. These warriors followed the code of Bushido. The Asuras are also known for their pride, anger, envy, and violence. These passions cause them to suffer and keep them from enlightenment. That is why rebirth as an Asura is considered one of the 6 realms of samsara, the cycle of existence. The Asuras live in the Ashura Kai, the realm of the Asuras, which is located in the sea surrounding Mount Sumeru, the sacred mountain at the center of the Buddhist universe. The Asuras share with the Devas, the benevolent gods, the holy tree that grows on the peak of Mount Sumeru, which bears wondrous fruits that bestow pleasure and power. However, the Asuras cannot enjoy these fruits, as the Devas expelled them from the mountain peak and confined them to the base. The Asuras, filled with envy and resentment, attempt to storm the realm of the Devas to claim their share of the tree, but are turned back by the celestial guardians. The Asuras have several leaders called Asura-O, meaning king of the Asuras. One of the best-known Asura-O is Ashura-O, the king of the Asuras, one of the 8 guardian deities of Japanese Buddhism. Ashura-O is the protector of the Southwest and is depicted with 3 heads, 6 arms, and 3 legs, clad in armor and wielding various weapons. Ashura-O is the son of Indra, the god of storms and king of the Deva, and a human woman. Ashura-O was raised by the Buddha, who taught him the path of compassion and wisdom. Asuras have various artistic representations, depending on the culture and era. They are usually shown with 3 heads with 3 faces each and 4 to 6 arms, although sometimes they have more or fewer. They are also often depicted with warlike attributes, such as weapons, armor, or flags. Sometimes they are represented as monstrous beings with fangs, claws, horns, or wings. Others represent them as beautiful beings with jewels, crowns, or dresses. In some traditions, such as the Japanese, they are associated with the color red. They are considered warriors and protectors of justice and truth. And so, the Asuras represent the dark side of human nature. They are powerful and ambitious beings, but also full of pride and greed. Their desire for power and domination can lead to violence and destruction.